30,000 steel-clad warriors stand on a muddy field in Poland, staring into a horizon that has begun to bleed black smoke. This is the threshold of the Battle of Legnica, a moment that will push Western civilization to the brink of collapse. They are the last line of defense for a continent that still believes its heavy armor and stone cathedrals are invincible. Behind them lies the heart of Europe, Germany, France, and the road to Rome. In front of them stands a nightmare from the deep steppes, an army that moves like a single, predatory organism and fights with a cold, mechanical precision that feels more demonic than human. These are the Mongols, the horsemen of the apocalypse, and they have not come to raid, they have come to erase. This is the story of the day the sun was blotted out by a million arrows, the day a single tactical trap almost changed the course of Western history forever. By the time the moon rises over this plain, the flower of European chivalry will be scattered in the dirt, and the fate of the West will depend on a grisly tally of 9 sacks filled with human ears. For 1,000 years, the Battle of Legnica has been whispered as the day Europe held its breath, a moment when the advanced military machine of the East collided with the feudal traditions of the West. To understand the terror that arrived at Europe's doorstep, we must look to the brilliant and ruthless mind of the Mongol generalissimo Subutai. He is the architect of a grand design, a coordinated three-pronged assault intended to shatter European resistance. While the main body of the horde targets the grasslands of Hungary, a smaller diversionary force of 20,000 riders is sent north into Poland. Their mission is simple: burn, pillage, and neutralize any forces that might attempt to aid the Hungarian king. They are a distraction, but a lethally effective one, acting as a northern pincer. The invasion begins in the dead of winter, 1241, catching the defenders completely by surprise as the Mongols cross frozen rivers that should have been barriers. The psychological shock is immediate. The Polish duchies, fragmented by internal rivalries and the squabbles of the Piast dynasty, offer no unified response. Sandomierz falls in February, and the capital of Kraków is put to the torch by Palm Sunday. Panic spreads like wildfire through the forests and villages. To the people of Poland, it seems as though the earth itself is being consumed by an unstoppable, dark tide of horsemen. Amidst this chaos, one man emerges as Europe's best hope for a coordinated defense: Duke Henry, the Pious of Silesia. Henry is a man of immense ambition, dreaming of a unified Polish crown, but those dreams are now overshadowed by the duty of survival. He withdraws to the fortified city of Legnica, sending out a desperate call for aid to every knight, noble, and mercenary within reach. He knows that he cannot face the storm alone, and he waits anxiously for news of reinforcements while the Mongol Tumans close in on his lands. The coalition that gathers is a patchwork of the medieval world. Henry's own elite Silesian knights are joined by hardened mercenaries, Moravian troops, and a levy of conscripted Bavarian gold miners from the town of Goldberg. Crucially, the military orders arrive, the Templars and Teutonic Knights, their iconic crosses signaling a holy war. They are the most feared warriors in Christendom, confident in their heavy mail and their god. Together, they represent a force of nearly 30,000 men, a magnificent but fragile display of feudal power, speaking different languages and following different banners. The Mongol commanders, Baidar and Kaidan, are perfectly informed of Henry's situation. Their vast spy network has told them that King Wenceslaus of Bohemia is marching to Henry's aid with 50,000 reinforcements just 2 days away. The Mongols cannot afford a prolonged siege or a battle against a combined force. They must strike now. Their tactical system, built on merit and discipline rather than birthright, is a stark contrast to the European model. They see the coming battle not as a duel of honor, but as a hunt where the prey must be herded and slaughtered. On the morning of April 9, 1241, the heavy gates of Legnica creak open. As Duke Henry leads his army into the biting air, a heavy stone dislodges from the heights of the Church of St. Mary, crashing into the mud and narrowly missing his head. His men cross themselves in terror, the omen of the falling stone hanging over them like a cold shroud. Henry, however, refuses to turn back. He leads his coalition toward the Wahlstadt plain, a name that will soon mean the battlefield, unaware that he is marching into a meticulously prepared killing box. The European army draws up in 4 distinct squadrons, a forest of steel lances and colorful heraldry. The action begins with the appearance of the Mongol vanguard, the Subutai. They move with a terrifying mechanical silence, their ponies skipping across the soft earth. Suddenly a whistle sounds, and 1,000 arrows arc into the spring sky. The Mongol composite bow, a marvel of horn and sinew, outranges anything the Europeans possess. Henry orders the first wave forward. The gold miners, men who have spent their lives in the dark, now seeking glory in the blinding sun. The miners hit the Mongol line with a roar, but the impact is hollow. The Mongols do not meet the charge with a wall of shields. They melt away like fog, skip-stepping their horses backward while loosing arrows with lethal accuracy. From a high ridge, Baidar watches the movement through a system of black and white signal flags. He is a silent conductor, guiding his riders through the feigned retreat, the oldest trick in the Mongol playbook. The European knights, seeing the heathen flee, interpret the retreat as cowardice and prepare to unleash their heavy cavalry. The tension peaks as the Knights of the Military Orders, the Templars and Hospitallers initiate a thundering shock charge. The ground shakes under the weight of thousands of heavy destriers. They believe they have broken the Mongol center, unaware that they are being lured miles away from their supporting infantry. As they gallop deeper into the plain, the Mongol horse archers continue their dance, drawing the heavy knights into exhaustion. The knights, trapped in their 70 pounds of mail, begin to lose their formation, their zeal blinding them to the isolation of their position. Suddenly, the world disappears. A thick, acrid smoke begins to billow across the battlefield, emitted from Mongol banners shaped like dragons. This is the Stinky wind, described by chroniclers, a tactical screen likely using Chinese incendiary technology to blind and disorient the Christian forces. The smoke cuts off all communication between the cavalry and the foot soldiers. The knights find themselves in a white void, the only sound the rhythmic thrumming of Mongol bows from the darkness. They are alone, their heavy armor now a cage in a landscape they can no longer see. When the smoke clears, the nightmare is revealed. The Mongol horse archers have transitioned into their Parthian swarm, circling the trapped knights in a continuous wave of fire. They do not aim for the armored chests of the riders, they aim for the unarmored bellies and eyes of the horses. As the mounts collapse, the proud knights are left floundering in the mud, slow and vulnerable. The Mongol light cavalry swarms the flanks, while their heavy lancers wait for the moment to deliver the final crushing blow to the isolated pockets of resistance. Inside the chaos, a single rider from the Mongol lines gallops through the haze, shouting a single deceptive command in perfect Polish: "Run! Run!" It is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. Panic ripples through the ranks of the Opole contingent. Henry's cousin, Mieszko the Fat, believes the battle is lost and orders his men to flee, taking a third of the army with him. Henry watches the desertion with a raw cry of despair, realizing that his flank is gone and the center is buckling. "A great misfortune has come upon us," he whispers. In a final act of defiance, Duke Henry leads his personal reserves into the heart of the Mongol horde. He is a veteran of regional squabbles, but nothing has prepared him for the decimal system of death he now faces. The Mongols move as a single organism, every squad of 10 responding to the flags on the ridge. Henry's standard-bearer is cut down, the eagle of Silesia falling into the blood-soaked dirt. He fights with the desperation of a man who knows his dreams of a kingdom are dying with his men. The Duke is unhorsed 3 times, and 3 times his bodyguards lift him back into the saddle. But the 4th time, he is alone. He fights on foot, his broadsword a blur of steel against the black lacquered leather armor of his enemies. He is eventually run down and decapitated, his head taken as a gruesome trophy to be paraded on a spear before the walls of Legnica. The silence that follows is the sound of a civilization being dismantled. The European army is virtually annihilated, the flower of its chivalry lying in the Polish mud. As dawn breaks over the Wahlstadt, the only sound is the flapping of banners over a field of ears. The Mongols have performed their grisly ritual, cutting 1 ear from every fallen Christian to count the dead, eventually filling 9 heavy sacks with the evidence of their triumph. Henry's body lies stripped and headless, unrecognized by his surviving men. It is a field of slaughter that seems to signal the end of the West, as the path to the heart of Germany and the road to Rome now lie open and undefended. It is only through the grief of Henry's widow, Anna of Bohemia, that the Duke is found. She identifies the headless torso by a unique anatomical mark. The Duke had 6 toes on his left foot. This physical detail, long thought to be a legend of martyrdom, was confirmed centuries later when his tomb was opened in 1832, revealing the skeletal evidence of his polydactyly and the missing skull. This forensic reality grounds the cinematic horror of the battle in tangible history, a physical testament to the man who stood against the storm. The victory at Legnica was total, yet the Mongols did not continue their march to the Atlantic. News of the Great Khan's death in distant Karakorum reached the princes, pulling them back to the steppes to settle the succession. Europe, too broken to save itself, was spared by a political twist of fate thousands of miles away. The Mongols withdrew, leaving behind a continent transformed by fear and a military lesson that would take centuries to fully absorb. That mobility, discipline, and technology could overcome the static power of the feudal knight. Legnica remains a historical paradox, a crushing tactical defeat that became a symbolic victory of resilience. Duke Henry II died a failure on the field, yet his sacrifice elevated him to a martyr for Christendom, the bulwark against the East. The battle serves as a reminder that history is not just made of numbers, but of the moments when different worlds collide. It was the day Europe learned that the world was larger and more dangerous than they ever imagined, a lesson written in the blood of 30,000 men on a Polish plain. If you felt the tension of the Wahlstadt plain and the weight of the Duke's final charge, help us continue to bring these forgotten moments of history to life. The story of the Mongol storm is just one chapter in the long saga of human resilience and tactical genius. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and ring the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into the battles that shaped our world. Let us know in the comments which historical mystery you want to see explored next. Thank you for watching.